Have to assume, and I will not say this, I do not think this has always been true with the Republican Party, but today's Trump Republican Party is a party that is not just prone to saying things that aren't true, but is actually trying to undermine people's confidence that truth is even possible to discern. I think that's the larger game here. And I think it's very important not to indulge the charade by pretending there's some merit to these charges. Now, it's entirely possible that there would be some kind of malfeasance in the Biden administration, of course, so like there can be in any administration. But in order to demonstrate it, you need some evidence and you need to be able to link facts with logic, and all of that's beside the point in this kind of case. And it's a constant assault, not just on the Biden administration, but really in confidence in the rule of law, in journalism, and democracy itself. It's the constant maintenance of an alternate reality where things become true simply because you repeat assertions over and over and over again and get them echoed throughout media ecosystem that's friendly to you. And that really is the larger issue. And really the far larger threat to the system that most of us, I hope, would want to preserve, whether we're on the right or the left. There's the basic gift of democracy that we've been lucky enough to inherit, but are at risk of squandering, in my view.
What do you make of what Spencer told us there? That there is a risk that the entire system, or the integrity of the entire system, could be damaged.
Absolutely, 100%. It's not due to the Republicans' alternative reality, as you mentioned. The facts are the facts. And Hunter Biden is known in Delaware as the Prince, because he is the son of President Biden. He's always been in elected office. And the Prince was convicted of all charges by the jury within a very short period of time. And the two-tier system that is happening at this time, with Hillary Clinton getting off scot-free without any charges, Biden and the allegations of the corruption of accepting money from all these foreign countries that I mentioned before and not being brought to justice because he's too senile and too old, according to the Justice Department, to be brought to justice. I mean, what kind of alternate reality is that? And that's what the American voters are watching. They're looking at that. I mean, we're looking at the invasion that is happening across the border with Mexico every day. Millions and millions of people are coming here illegally, taking away jobs from Americans. The crime rate that is going on, and all these other things, inflation and gas prices, and the voters want to change. And change is President Biden is.
If I might, not
go ahead.
Making my point for me, it's almost as if Art wants to demonstrate my point for me. So that was an example of what I'm talking about. If we now spent the next 10 minutes finding out not just factual supportability of those assertions, but the internal logic.
So there's no illegal invasion.
Let me finish.
No. So there's
okay. Let's spend some time.
A key part of this technique is to bury people in a whole bunch of unrelated assertions and make it so that it's impossible to refute all of them because we would run out of time. But to get back to the point, how is it possible that the rapid conviction by a jury of Hunter Biden with absolutely no interference by President Biden, with him in fact advertising that he would not pardon him, he would not interfere? How is that?
Those are the
proof
facts.
of a rigged Justice
The guy
Department.
was guilty. Those are the facts.
So the Justice Department worked in this case, but it failed to convict Hillary Clinton because we don't like the result. This is the logical.
They failed to convict Hillary Clinton. They only charged the
I can do this as long as you can do it.
You're about to open the door here. You spent some
pretty
fairly short time.
I keep exercising. My lungs are in good shape. I can go as long as you want to go. So to
hang on.
that thought,
I'll get to it.
Demonstration of what I'm saying. Okay, this is a perfect demonstration of what I'm saying because we get a sequence of assertions. There isn't enough time to refute them all, and if I were to waste my time refuting them, there would be an endless supply of new ones.
Speaking of President Obama, he's tied on President Trump in the campaign in 2006.
Here we go with another one.
But isn't that the truth? I mean, what about the FISA report that allowed for the president, for the DOJ to spy President Trump's campaign.
Yeah.
What do you mean, you're forgetting nuclear concentration. What about the underground tunnel?
Gentlemen, I'm not going to move on. We have two other guests. Joseph Williams, getting back to the cases that we're talking about right now. I mean, there has been an impact, especially in the Trump case. It's not necessarily in terms of political impact, but according to Newsweek, Trump is raising record sums of campaign money in the wake of those guilty verdicts. I mean, even in Democrat strongholds like California, there's a report that he raised $12 million in just one night in California.
Well, yeah, that's because we are hearing stuff that his base really agrees. I mean, he is making things up sometimes out of whole cloth. I mean, the fact is that he was convicted in a fair trial, and it's fair for him to use it to raise money, mainly because his followers are incensed, it riled up the base, and that's where a lot of the money is coming from. I mean, California, while it's a Democratic stronghold, is not necessarily a monolith. Republicans can go there and raise money too, particularly if they've got this kind of a message that Trump wants to deliver to them and that they agree with what he's saying. But I do agree with what Spencer was saying, is that in fact, we are living in two different realities, and in fact, there are logical fallacies with some of the arguments that Republicans are making about the justice system. And in fact, there is a two-tier justice system, and I would argue that Donald Trump got the benefit of the justice system that a lot of other people don't get, particularly people who look like me and people who don't have a lot of money. He was treated very, very well by the judge, even though he was cited in charges that would have brought most people to jail.